Hi, this is Ernie Daughtery, and I want to welcome you to the Fishin' Magazine television series. We're with Central Pro-Am Association on Lake Dardanelle on the Arkansas River. You know, river bass fishing provides its own set of unique challenges. And you'll see what I mean when we come back right after these messages.
For 5 years, Lake Dardanelle has been the ultimate hot weather test for Central Pro-Am anglers. Year in and year out, this vexing impoundment on the Arkansas River has been merciless, testing the Pro-Am anglers' ability to catch bass off submerged humps with Carolina rigs and deep-diving crankbaits amid stifling heat and torrential summer thunderstorms. This year is different, however. The Pro-Am anglers have come to Dardanelle in early May as the third stop in Central Pro-Am's 10th anniversary season, and now they face a challenge of a different kind. Heavy spring rains farther up the Arkansas River watershed have turned Dardanelle into a sea of high, muddy water, with the lake's creek arms offering the only escape. With the water conditions uncertain, the game plan at Dardanelle will be to find a pattern capable of producing fish 2 days in a row. But if history is any indication, a pattern alone won't be enough to win. You need to find the right spot. In 1996, Jim Davidson won by crankbaiting a small rock pile next to Dardanelle State Park. In 1997, Mark Tucker won, catching 35 pounds of bass off one small hump in the cold water intake of the nuclear power plant at Russellville. And in 1998, Brian Snowden caught enough bass on 2 humps in Dardanelle Bay to set a Central Pro-Am tournament record of 47.6 pounds. Just how remarkable was Snowden's record-setting performance? Well, consider this. Prior to his victory, the winning weight for Central Pro-Am tournaments on Dardanelle had never exceeded 36 pounds, and his winning margin of 23 pounds was so great he could have stayed in bed on day 2 and still won the tournament. Snowden's win and his total weight record are even more impressive when you consider where he did it. Take a look at Central Pro-Am's 40-plus club. In Central Pro-Am history, the 40-pound barrier has been crossed only 10 times. And other than Snowden's performance at Dardanelle, all the remaining times have occurred on 3 lakes known for big bass: Grand Lake, Truman, and Lake of the Ozarks. Jackie Davis has made the list 3 times, Truman Lake guide Fred Barracks twice, and only one angler, Randy Blockett, has ever crossed the 40-pound mark and failed to win. He fell 5 ounces short when Dave Barker won at Grand Lake in 1995. Despite the current water conditions at Dardanelle this year, some of the Pro-Am anglers believe it will again take that caliber of catch to win.
The way the fish are right now, they're looking for something moving quick. They are hitting the bait so hard and aggressive, you'll be able to hit slow rolling a spinnerbait or coming through the grass, and they'll hit it and have it 2 feet before you can even get the hook set on them. Realistically, I think around 40 pounds will end up taking to win this tournament.
Other anglers, including 1996 Dardanelle winner Jim Davidson, have done well in practice, but they've seen how quickly conditions at Dardanelle can change.
The river system, whenever you letting this much flow through, I think it's running about 160,000 cubic foot through right now. On this end, it'll be down about 2 foot. On the other end, it'll be up 2 foot. And that's what I run into up there, was the water's up about 2 foot higher than it was 2 weeks ago. So yesterday, I got on a buzzbait bite early around some grass. I believe I can catch 2 or 3 buzzbait fish first thing in the morning. By 10 o'clock, then I'm going to leave and I'm going to go flip back in Spadra.
On the morning of day 1, Pro-Am anglers awakened to yet another Dardanelle surprise. After running water rapidly for the 2 practice days, the Corps of Engineers stopped running water over the night. The water level is rising everywhere, and what that will mean to the fishing, well, that's anybody's guess. In practice, defending title holder Brian Snowden returned to the areas where he caught his winning stringer in 1998, but quickly determined they wouldn't produce for him at this time of year. So this morning, he's fishing newly flooded brush with jigs and tube baits. But so far, the results have been disappointing, and unless his fortunes improve, a return to the winner's circle seems unlikely. Despite his pre-tournament optimism, former Pro Division Rookie of the Year Ladd Shannon is also struggling. With the water level now higher at the lower end of the lake, Shannon begins the day fishing a crankbait along riprap that often holds bass under such conditions. He's catching fish all right, but unfortunately, they're too small to keep. One angler who is catching keepers is Jim Davidson, and so far his game plan has worked to a T. He caught 2 keepers early on a buzzbait, and now he's trying to complete his limit, flipping a jig into flooded vegetation.
You don't get very many bites. Only been getting about 3, 4, or 5 bites a day. That's why I needed them buzzbait fish early. Can't afford to miss one. I can get 2 more bites here. They've been running anywhere from 3 to 5 pounds of flipping fish have. I just get me a couple more bites. If I stay patient, I'll get them.
Troy Akins, winner of the Lake of the Ozarks Pro-Am 3 weeks earlier, is out to make it 2 in a row. He already has a limit, and now he's hoping to land a big fish that will put him near the top of the Day 1 standings. Now, normally filming a bass tournament wouldn't be what you'd call risky business. But there are some times when Fishin' Magazine's camera crews could justify asking for hazardous duty pay. When the anglers return for the afternoon weigh-in, Cecil Johnson quickly establishes the amateur division standard.
Boy, if he's got a kicker fish like that today, it is going to put a bite on this thing, I guarantee you. Look at here. How many you got? Got the limit. Here we go. Here's your new leader in the amateur division. 13 pounds even. That's your leader right now in the amateur division, Cecil Johnson.
Ken Sullivan has only 1 fish, but his 5-pounder takes over the big bass lead. Jimmy Keeter has one even bigger, but he has only 2 keepers and can't overtake Johnson. Randy Stewart comes in with this 6.5-pounder, but has only 2 other small fish and moves into second place with 10 pounds. Finally, Paul Loveland, winner of back-to-back tournaments in 1998, comes to the scales.
I believe they're going to be right on up there. They're gone. Here's a new leader in the amateur division. Here it goes. 15 point. Hold on now. Let's do this again. 15.25 pounds. Get a couple of those fish out of there, Paul. There's your new leader right now in the amateur division, Paul Loveland from Grove, Oklahoma.
In the pro division, Greg Ryan sets the early standard with a limit that weighs 10.9 pounds. But he's eventually passed by Dave Barker with 12.25 pounds. A few minutes later, Pro-Am veteran Bunky Long comes to the scales.
New leader? Oh yeah, looky here, looky here. This is what we're looking for right here. Here we go. 14.50 pounds.
Steve Wright has only 2 fish, but they both weigh over 5 pounds, and he moves into the thick of the pro division race. Larry Seeger comes in with this 6-pounder, but he has only 3 other keepers and settles for second place with 12.65 pounds. Frankie Rose has a bass even bigger than Seeger's, but he has just 2 keepers and can't challenge Long's lead. A short time later, Troy Akins comes to the scale.
Take the lead from Bunky Long. They got to weigh 14.50 pounds. I don't think they'll quite do that. Won't quite do that. Second place would probably be 12-something, in the neighborhood of 12-something. I don't know. There's some chunks there, buddy. There's some chunks there. That's going to be right up there about second place. 13.05 pounds.
Right behind Akins is Mark Weezy.
All right, how many you got to go with us, sir?
The limit.
Got the kicker fish in the limit. Bunky Long took the lead early in this tournament. 14.5 pounds. Can you bump that?
Should be able to.
Oh, looky here at this beautiful sack of fish. Here it goes. 15.55 pounds.
When the third flight arrives, Lou Treat comes in with a limit that could challenge Weezy's lead.
Good job, Lou Treat. Look at here. Look at here. Did not even get a chance to practice over here during official practice periods. 13.65 pounds. Good job, Lou.
Next is Jim Davidson.
In the tournament, 15.55 pounds. $10,000 on the line. It's gone. Gone. It's gone. Here it goes. 17.60 pounds. Put your hands together for a new leader in the pro division, Jim Davidson.
At the end of the first day, Jim Davidson sits atop the Quantum Pro-Am scoreboard with 17.6 pounds, giving him a 2-pound edge over Mark Weezy in second place, with Bunky Long, Lou Treat, and Troy Akins rounding out the top 5. The rest of the top 10 is tightly bunched, as less than a pound separates Matt Lee in 6th place from Dave Barker in 10th. In the amateur division, Paul Loveland holds down the top spot with 15.25 pounds. Close behind are Cecil Johnson and Gary Gedville, with Randy Stewart and Andy Gill completing the top 5. The rest of the top 10 looks like donuts on parade, as Team Donut members Jimmy Keeter and Jason Bond hold down 6th and 7th places respectively. Stay tuned for exciting Day 2 action. We'll be right back. It's now time for Bass Fishing My Way. Helpful hints from some of Central Pro-Am's top competitors. Brought to you by Daylight Donuts, the best donuts around. When Brian Snowden set the Central Pro-Am total weight record at Dardanelle in 1998, he did it by locating 2 humps holding bass and then fishing deep-diving fat-free shads around those humps his way.
I was actually throwing it out, and I wanted it to dig into the bottom. I was wanting it to stay in contact with the bottom almost to the boat. And I would just use a real slow retrieve, and the more stuff I hit, I'd pause and then start and pause. And that seemed to trigger the fish, because I was fishing a lot of used water, and it was just key little areas that were holding these fish. And Sunday we had to move in a little tighter and actually fish the side toward the bank. So we were actually bringing it up from the bank up to the hump. And I think that was something that other people had overlooked. It paid off, because I know a lot of people were fishing this spot. When I would hit the cover of the grass, I would actually pause. And every time I did, that's when I would get a strike. And so I think a lot of guys just ran it and hit the stuff, but they never paused, and that seemed to trigger the strikes for some reason. I never got a bite when I was just constantly reeling in the bait.
The morning of Day 2 dawns clear and bright, but with an ominous hint of clouds on the horizon. And those near the lead, like Mark Weezy, know they must stay focused on the business at hand if they're to meet whatever challenges the day has to offer. Leader Jim Davidson returns to the areas that produced his first day limit, but his fish are not as active as on Day 1. With clouds moving in rapidly, the day seems tailor-made for a buzzbait, but so far Davidson's strikes are few and far between, and always too short to keep. Finally, amateur partner Gary Gedville gets a strike and manages to break the ice with a keeper. A short time later, Davidson switches from a buzzbait to a spinnerbait. Immediately, his fortunes seem to change. This bass is definitely a keeper, but when Davidson brings it around the front of the boat for Fishin' Magazine's television camera, the hook twists in the fish's mouth and it becomes one that got away. Lou Treat has located a hump at the back of Piney Creek where the water depth drops dramatically from 1 foot to 18 feet. He's working a Carolina-rigged plastic lizard down the drop-off, and the tactic worked like a charm on Day 1. Today, the cloud cover seems to have scattered his fish, and all the ones Treat and amateur Carl Gurley are catching are non-keepers.
There's just a lot of fish in here. You just have to fish it slow. It's tough fishing, you know. And I think the main thing, you make a lot of cash, you got to put it right in front of them. Seems like they don't want it listening right in front of them. Every time I get a bite, it's just, I'm on a stump or something. They're different than they was yesterday. Yesterday I was having to really move it fast, really fast. Today they're wanting it real slow.
Mark Weezy was in second place after Day 1, only 2 pounds out of the lead. And with Davidson struggling, the situation seems perfect for Weezy to move past him. Unfortunately, Weezy's day is turning into a carbon copy of Davidson's. With the cloud cover, Weezy's bigger fish have moved out, and all he's able to catch are non-keepers. Meanwhile, it's ditto for Bunky Long and amateur partner Jack Taft III. For them, it's been a slow day until, suddenly, they look like they're in a Double Mint gum commercial, both getting strikes at the same time. But, sad to say, they both end up disappointed. By midday, conditions have not changed for Lou Treat. In fact, they've gotten worse. He now has company, and that means he can't stray very far if he wants to keep his spot. For Treat, the decision is easy. He decides to stay, certain the area is holding bass and they'll eventually turn on. The situation is no better for Jim Davidson either, who has yet to land a keeper. He's now getting plenty of strikes on his spinnerbait, but none of the fish are big enough to keep. Finally, fortune smiles on him. Carefully, he works the bass back to the boat. Gedville scoops it up with the net, and Davidson is rewarded for his persistence. When the anglers return to Lake Dardanelle State Park for the afternoon weigh-in, Gary Gedville makes his bid to replace Paul Loveland as the tournament leader.
15-2-5 with the lead in the amateur division. Here we go. Here we go. 8.85 pounds. Ladies and gentlemen, 20.15 pounds. A new leader in the amateur division, Gary Gedville.
When the third flight arrives, Loveland attempts to retake the lead and win his third amateur division title.
Got away over 5. Here they are.
That's over 5.
5.65 pounds. 20.90 pounds. A new leader in the amateur division, Paul Loveland.
Finally, only Cecil Johnson has a chance of overtaking Loveland.
He needs, how much, Terry, to take the lead? 7.95 is what he needs. He's got 10.40 pounds, 23.40 pounds. A new leader in the amateur division, Cecil Johnson.
In the pro division, Bob Harder comes to the scales with 4 solid bass, but they're not enough to overtake Jim Davidson. Then, Lou Treat comes to the scales.
How many you got?
4.
4. You ran out of time, didn't you?
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
I know we filmed you and we were on you with the Fishing Magazine television series cameras. I know you only had 1 or 2, but you thought the way the bite was going, you'd be able to eke out a limit before the day was over.
Yeah, I caught a couple more. I had 2 when the camera boat left me. I just caught 2 more.
Here we go. We got 4 good bass, so 4 quality fish. Here we go. Watch out. 10.65 pounds. Mark it. Here we go. 24.30 pounds. A new leader in the pro division, Lou Treat. Good job, sir.
Jimmy Martin comes in with the biggest fish of the tournament, but his 2 other fish are small, and he can't challenge Treat's lead. Next to weigh in is Jim Davidson.
Here's my day 1 leader, and he's got a pretty long face on right now. It's happened again.
Just one of them days, Ernie. I don't think I did anything wrong. I just didn't do nothing right.
Finally, only Bill Reed has a chance to overtake Treat. Reed's come in with a limit, doing what virtually no one else was doing, fishing a twin-tailed grub in 10 feet of water on 10-pound line.
He may have got Lou Treat. 15 points. I got to come back to this one. Settle it down. Take him out of there, Wes. 15.55 pounds. They're going to double check this math. You are close, partner. We double checked it. We triple checked it. I'm not going to make any mistakes here, am I? 23 pounds even. That's about second place right now. Bill Reed.
It's in the record books now. Lou Treat holds off all challengers to win his second Central Pro-Am title with a 2-day total of 24.3 pounds. Right behind Treat on the MotorGuide Pro-Am scoreboard is Bill Reed, who achieves his highest Pro-Am finish ever with 23 pounds, while Dave Barker, Matt Lee, and Jeff Essery complete the top 5. In the rest of the top 10, first day leader Jim Davidson leads the way in 6th place, with Steve Wright and David Hughes right on his heels. In the amateur division, Cecil Johnson wins his first Central Pro-Am title with a 2-day total of 23.4 pounds. Johnson outdistances runner-up Paul Loveland by 2.5 pounds, with Gary Gedville, Andy Gill, and James Park Jr. close behind. In the rest of the top 10, Greg Baldwin leads the way, barely edging out Kansan Bob Jorgensen for 6th place. We'll be right back.
When you own a Daylight Donut shop, your job is to make people happy. And when you're serving delicious Daylight donuts and fresh hot coffee, well, it's not very hard to do. But equally important, it's your store. So you enjoy the benefits of being financially independent and controlling your own life. Small shop or large shop, Daylight has a roadmap to success for you. Find out how to make people happy and make yourself happy too with your own Daylight Donuts shop.
Legendary reputations don't happen overnight, and genuine integrity is hard-earned. Inside every Ranger is a vision Forestwood began more than 3 decades ago. A vision of total dedication to quality, where craftsmanship and a passion for excellence continually set the standards. A vision so powerful that today building legends isn't just a goal, it's what we do.
At MotorGuide, we cling to a concept our competitors seem to have forgotten. is stronger than plastic. Cold-rolled 12-gauge steel that will stand up to anything your trolling motor might see before you do. Steel that won't bend or flex when you crank 107 pounds of thrust against it. Men of steel, nerves of steel, shafts of steel, not plastic. MotorGuide. Take on the world.
Now there's a new way to get all the great gear you want from Bass Pro Shops. Check out BassPro.com, the official Bass Pro Shops website. Log on to BassPro.com anytime you want to shop. With over 50,000 products just a mouse click away, Bass Pro Shops Online is your one-stop source for fishing, hunting, camping, and the great outdoors. Plus great fishing tips, upcoming events, and more. BassPro.com is your sportsman's paradise on the internet. Bass Pro Shops, where you get more outdoors for your money.
It's now time for Tips from the Top, techniques you can use to catch more fish. Brought to you by Ranger Boats, where they still build them one at a time.
I thought the lake would be real tough, or the river system would be real tough, and I wanted to do something that is different than everybody else, and that's in regards to a Carolina rig out in the open water. And I didn't feel like that this time of year a lot of people would be doing that. The water clarity was very important. I was in Piney Creek, and it's always clear. And you have to have pretty much clear water, foot and a half visibility to be able to fish a Carolina rig the way I wanted to fish. This is about my 7th year on this Dardanelle, and I found that spot about 3 or 4 years ago. It's a really unique little place. You have to idle in there to it, and you have to go in there 5 or 6 minutes to idle, and it's a little horseshoe type deal. And it just kind of makes a horseshoe. You got 15, 18 foot of water, and right off to the right side of one of them horseshoes, a little old bitty hump, and it's got rock on it and a bunch of stump, and it's out in the open water, and it's a lot of people just don't know that place is there. The key of getting them fish to bite was yesterday was moving it real fast. The faster I could move it, the more bites I could get, and I realized that by using a one-aught hook, a real life one-aught hook, that lizard would float, and use a 3-foot leader and move it fast, and it seemed like that really triggered them fish to bite.
You know, after being Central Pro-Am's tournament director for over 10 years, one thing always proves itself to be true. No matter how tough the conditions, someone always finds a way to catch them. Hey, thanks for joining us today, and we'll see you next week on the Fishing Magazine television series.